This episode has been brought to you by Fornos Law Firm, devoted to optimizing your legal results at fornoslaw.com.
Welcome to Pushroom Life After Injury podcast, recorded May 9th, 2014, episode 41, Pageantry with a Purpose. I'm Ray Pizarro.
I'm Richard Bell.
We want to thank our audience for being with us. These podcasts were created to talk about spinal cord injury related topics, disability resources, and also spotlight individuals that found ways to get past their challenges and are now a great source of inspiration. On this episode, our friend Cindy DeJesus will be sharing her story as current president of Miss Wheelchair California Pageant, Inc., and the former title holder 2013. So we want to welcome her. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me today.
Yeah, thanks for making the trek over here. So, to start off, I just wanted to ask, what brings you here and how did you get into the chair and all of that good stuff?
Well, I actually broke my back. I didn't get into the wheelchair till just recently, like in the past 5 years. However, the story starts a long time ago when I was 12 years old. I was in a treehouse. It was Father's Day, and I was in with a friend, and the friend's mother called and asked her to hurry up. So she hurried by helping me out of the tree with a little extra push. And unfortunately, I hit my head on the way down and fell like a rag doll, which is what caused the impaction of the spinal cord on top of each other. So total obliteration of T12L1. So there's they did a graft from my hip to correct the problem, told me I would never walk. I did the traction thing, and I'm one of these people that don't ever tell me never.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
As soon as they said never, I'm just like, I think you're wrong. And they would just look at me like, you're just a stupid little kid. What do you know? And I just said, no, I think you're wrong because I can feel my feet, and I can feel my legs. So, so anyway, I went through the hospital thing.
So it was an incomplete injury then? You still had sensation under the injury?
Correct.
Okay.
But they still didn't see it as enough to make a difference. They felt it was definitely not enough to make a difference. And at the time, I lived in Chicago, so I was at Northwestern Hospital.
Okay.
And from Northwestern Hospital, after about a month there, I was in a coma for only a few days, not long. And then several surgeries within that month that I was there. And then I was transferred over to the rehab. And I spent 3 months in the rehab.
What would you say?
Yeah. Where was the rehab?
I honestly don't remember the name of it.
Oh, okay.
It's connected to Northwestern University Hospital right there on Lake Michigan.
Oh, okay.
So it's right on the lakefront. You can actually see the lake and the ice and everything and all the fun from the...
So while you were in rehab, what would you say was the most challenging part of your rehab, and how long did you stay?
I was in rehab for 3 months, and the most challenging part was not being allowed to do what I knew I could do, but being told this is what you're going to do. And as a 12-year-old, you're obstinate to begin with, Just go out on the street today and you'll know any 12-year-old's a pain in the butt. But I was definitely a challenge for the nurses and the therapists, and about the only thing I really, truly enjoyed was the aquatic therapy, because it was just so easy. It was so easy. And I moved around very well, but I didn't get a lot of therapy in those. Mostly during those months were spent to let me know that I am now in a wheelchair and this is going to be your life and blah, blah, blah. So get over it. And
so was your family there to have your back and friends as a backbone?
Well, my family actually believed in what the doctors had to say, and all I wanted to do was come home. So I went home, and finally, after months and months, went home. And when I had gotten home, my dad and his cousin decided to build a gym for me in the living room. So our living room got converted into a gym.
There you
That's
go.
awesome.
So they believed in me, not what the doctor had to say. So they couldn't wait to get me home. And, at the time in the hospital, it's just like, yeah, agree just so that we can get her home. So anyway, once they got me home, whole different story.
Yeah, and you had a whole custom rehab situation set up.
Yes, and I was working
Very
out every
nice.
day, and there were times when I was just like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. And my dad's cousin was pushing me, you have to, and so I did. And when I had gone in for a 3-month checkup back at the hospital, they were blown away that I was walking.
Wow.
So they were just like, you just did the impossible. And I said, no, I just did what you wouldn't let me do.
You proved them wrong. Yeah, you were on your own schedule, and you decided to pave the way and move forward.
And I think that's
Exactly.
why it's so important to take care of your own care
Exactly.
and make sure
Exactly.
you're getting the right treatment from doctors or therapists or whoever.
Right. And, it's because Northwestern is one of the highly respected facilities, my parents kind of had to take it because the doctors sure weren't going to change their opinion. But I changed their opinion when I went in. And that was really gratifying to be able to say, this is what I want, and this, at that point they were, how can we help you? Right. And then it became a whole different story where I could tell them, I need, more with, I have the balance beam, so I need something more with drop foot, to work with drop foot and stuff. So they really helped me along with supplying me with the AFOs and the whatever I needed. I started out with...
For people who don't know, AFOs, is those kind of braces?
Yes, it's an ankle-foot orthotic.
Okay.
So I have ankle-foot orthotic on both my legs. And at the time, they were mid-thigh.
Okay.
And they had knee locks. So if you guys can picture Forrest Gump.
Yes, I can.
Yeah.
Similar setup.
Yes, that was me. But I told my dad, this isn't working. This works for them. It doesn't work for me. So could please saw these things off down here. So my dad trusted me again, and he cut them off. And I was able to move and walk. And I had.
So you cut them off below the knee?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, because otherwise, when they were above the knee, I was literally doing the Forrest Gump of, stiff legs and.
And we don't recommend you going ahead and doing that. Make sure you talk to your therapist or your doctor to make sure it's safe.
Yeah, it worked for her, but it might not work. For
that
you,
doesn't work
so.
for everybody.
Correct.
And of course, you want to make sure that your insurance company doesn't get angry with you too. But for me, it was just. I knew my body well enough, and my family trusted me enough to do what I needed, and it worked out really well.
Now, how soon after that did you return to school? I mean, after you got hurt?
I returned to school right away.
Okay.
So I was not away.
You didn't miss like a year or stuff like
because
that?
my injury happened in the summer, and so I only missed about September.
Okay.
And it was October when I was back in school, so it was not a problem.
Did you return in a wheelchair, or were you come in crutches, or how did you get
I went back in the wheelchair for safety's sake. When you're in among a whole lot of students and you're just, learning to walk all over again, needed the protection of the wheelchair. So we used the wheelchair. However, it had its own problems because I was at a Catholic school, private school, and at that time they were not very accessible. And that was in the 70s, which, brings us around to about the time that everybody started screaming, hey, what about us in wheelchairs?
Don't
We
forget
need
about
rights
us.
too.
We need to use the restroom as well.
So kind of things changed a little bit. I wound up having to change schools so that I could go to an adaptive school. It was an inclusive public school where we were all together. So it wasn't just a special school. even though I am special. But
now, how did the kids or friends, treat you when you were there today?
They were just happy to have me back. Nobody seemed to have any issues. My friends were just my friends. They would still come visit, and nothing really changed. And that was a great deal of my life was like that, where no one really saw me as, they said, you don't act, which is really kind of funny. They say, you don't act disabled, so we don't think of you as disabled.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny because I always felt like, well, what does that look like? I didn't watch the video.
Right.
Yeah, so, but you didn't have any issues with, like self-confidence and stuff going back either, sounds like.
No.
Because, a lot of people do. Once they get injured, they're afraid to be seen in the chair.
Yeah, a lot of people do. I think the fact that I was so young.
The age, correct.
Helped.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder. My brother is a quadriplegic.
Okay.
He became a quadriplegic at the age of 45.
Wow.
And he has a real hard time. And he can't accept it. He won't accept it. Certainly not from me. But I work with a group called the Triumph Foundation, and we get people to come out of their shells and say, there's a whole world out here. You just have to try it out. It may be different than the one you had before, but that's okay. It's still just as much fun. It's just different fun.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely.
And that's great that you're doing some outreach, and that leads us to the other part of why you're here and the accomplishments you have, done with the wheelchair pageant stuff. Can you elaborate on that and what made you get into that? And
I'm a life coach.
Okay.
Most coaches have coaches. So my coach dared me because I'm a bit of a bookworm, and I could be a lifelong student, and I'm studying. I was this close to finishing up with my PhD, and she said, I dare you to take your head out of that book and you go do that pageant, enter that pageant. And I said, I don't want to enter a pageant. That's not me. And then she said, I dare you. You enter that pageant. You see how other people live, and you never see yourself as being a disabled person, and never do I. And this was her speaking to me. And I said, okay, well then, I guess I will see what's out there. We'll go do this. So anyway, so she really bugged me because she called me every day. Every day.
Did you sign up yet? Are you on the list?
Yes. Did you get that packet? So I got the packet, and she bugged me until I got the whole thing situated. And I said, once I did fill out the packet and send it in, I told her, you do know now that if I do this and I have embarked on this endeavor, I have to win.
There's no
Because
other option.
I don't do things halfway.
And you did. And she won.
And I did.
Good for you.
And it's been a beautiful reign. It was a wonderful year. I learned a lot about a lot of different disabilities.
What type of outreach did you do while you were?
Well, I found real quickly that people look to the title holder as like a stub hub. You have all the information for I am like 911, on the 411. Everybody's just like, I need a wheelchair. Where do I go?
Right.
So real quick, you start collecting cards and getting your database of who.
Going to Abilities Expo, that helps a lot.
Yes, doing the Abilities Expo, I did a couple of them, representing, and do a lot of representing in different towns, and it's really exciting. Even though it sounds silly that we did the 4th of July parade in Morgan Hill, I didn't realize how much a parade meant to somebody in a wheelchair until they announced Ms. Wheelchair California, and you would see those heads pop up that were sitting in wheelchairs, and they, and the parents would be like, look,
we have a hero.
Yeah, I know. There's a representative, somebody just like us.
Yeah.
And I actually, it was the strangest thing. I had somebody stop the parade so she could give me a hug.
Wow.
So I was just like, we need to get out of the street if we're going to keep hugging.
Yeah.
But it represented something, and that really made me open my eyes to people need somebody to look at and say, there's somebody out there that believes in us, that represents us, that doesn't make us look like the old glassy-eyed idiot.
Yeah. And obviously you made that connection with that individual that day that really
that was, I mean, there were many, but that one was the most traumatic because she was
heartfelt.
She was a vet from the Kuwait. So when they went out in Kuwait, she had gotten injured, and so she was in a wheelchair, and she was just blown away, amazing, and just a wonderful individual. And we still keep in touch.
That's
so
great.
I look forward to seeing her.
Cool. So, and then what else do you do as a pageant holder?
We travel the entire state. So we represent everybody from the mentally impaired, the intellectually impaired, to people in wheelchairs. It doesn't matter. There is no exclusion. We represent everybody. So whenever I had a request, I had to go, and I had to go speak on their behalf to let them know that life doesn't end. Life is what you want it to be. Dream big, and live and love and get out there and have a life.
Now, is there a national Miss Wheelchair?
And that's a good question. Yes, there is. There are two pageants, actually. There's a Ms. Wheelchair America and Ms. Wheelchair USA. And I competed in Miss Wheelchair USA.
Oh, okay.
I placed in third.
That's a big deal.
Well, congratulations.
Which it was good, but I was glad that I placed in third because I was able to spend more time at home versus
traveling everywhere.
Yeah, and the projects that they wanted us to do for USA weren't really national. They wanted you to go back to your home state and do something. And California is the flagship for the nation. We've got it covered. So we've got hunting programs, we've got surfing programs, we've got skiing programs, we got it all.
Hand cycling, all that
Hand
stuff.
cycling, which is my personal favorite.
24/7, year round, basically, right?
Yeah.
I love it. And I just did sled hockey for the first time because our Los Angeles Kings, who hopefully will win.
Yes.
Because it's all about the cup for me because I love hockey.
Gotcha.
But anyway, they actually provided a full equipment, all the equipment, all the sleds, all the sticks, all the gear,
Gloves.
helmets, everything for sled hockey at the local ice skating rink that is right around the corner from my house. So it's a blast. So they were all excited. They said, "You can join the sled hockey team."
I totally missed that one.
Oh, total blast. It was so funny. I wore so the whole ice skating rink is decorated Kings because, of course, they put so much money into this tiny facility in Oxnard. But, a lot of people think Oxnard, that's Nowhereville. But we also have the Dallas Cowboys training camp right a block away from my house. So I actually get to walk to these events. So it's pretty awesome. But no, there's, I just felt like I didn't want to take that national title. Wasn't as important when I realized what they wanted was not big enough for me.
Gotcha.
I think big, and I want everybody else to think big. And just like it's better to think big and really go for something than it is to think small and think I can't. Can't. I always told my kids when they were growing up, can't means you don't want to. You don't want it bad enough. So I just help people dream big.
Right. And what are the qualifications to get in case Richard wants to participate in one of these pageant events in the future? Or...
Yeah, girl.
Well,
No.
that would require a little bit of femininity.
Surgery. A lot of surgery.
A few psych appointments, I think. But no, anybody over the age of 18, any woman.
And female.
Yes, any woman over the age of 18
Okay.
who has a passion to advocate for the disability community.
Okay.
So what we do is we do a lot of traveling to not just representing when we're requested at an event, like
Right.
Sophie Center, or sometimes when I'm requested to come to just individual events. But we also spend our time 2 weeks ago talking to our legislators in Sacramento about transportation and making it easy for people with disabilities to actually go about the cities. Those metal grates that are supposed to be around trees, they're not around all the trees. That's a real hazard for people in wheelchairs.
I could have first experience. I
Yeah.
fell on my face in one, so in an alley. So
Yeah, yes, he did.
As if to put the exclamation point right on it, I fell into one in Sacramento.
welcome to the club.
I'm like, this is what I'm here for, and look what happens to me. And the month before, we had gone up to advocate for disability rights for parking, and because the 10 City Initiative is trying to take away disabled parking rights, and
Whoa.
I had gone up there, and oddly enough, we put the cones, and we had our handicap placard up, and we needed the extra space to be able to unload the two motorized wheelchairs out of the back of the van, and they ticketed us
What?
and took the cones.
That
And the
is-
cones had the code number, the law code on it, and had the name, our name on it. And they took them anyway and just wrote the ticket. So that was just to prove their point of
We're
no,
serious. We need to.
in Sacramento, we are removing your parking privileges. So,
At all places, too, huh?
of all
Capital.
places.
The capital,
Well,
yeah.
you have that's Kevin Johnson, I believe, is the mayor,
Yeah, I'm not sure.
and I believe so.
Okay.
And he, a former basketball player,
Yeah.
and he promised the
Oh, that's
Kings
right.
a new court.
Yeah.
So, and the basketball Kings,
New
not
stadium,
my
yeah.
hockey Kings.
Right.
And he promised it, but however, there wasn't any funding for it because the governor cut off funding for that.
Oh.
So he said, "Okay, where can we dig?"
Right.
There's a lot
Let's
of money
bleed
there.
us, yeah.
Which it is a lot of money. It really is. But they're going at it the wrong side of it. Instead of going after the people with disabilities to pay the bill, what they should be going after is the people who are violating.
Correct.
Those are huge fines that
They-
they're letting get away.
They need to create some kind of task force to enforce those things and have people accountable and pay bigger fines to.
Believe it or not, and this is what I found really sad, is that the police actually don't like to enforce that because they've been shot at over parking space, so
Okay, and that's not cool.
that's scary, to think,
Yeah.
and you think they're just trying to defend our right to be able to park in a disabled parking spot and somebody else, and then they get shot at for
Wow.
something so silly. And it's just like, really, you really couldn't walk those extra,
Couple
20 feet?
Yeah.
But, that's why it gets to be a catch-22 with law enforcement. And it's also why the DMV was assigned to recall all those placards that are out there that should not be out there. When people pass away, it's required that the Social Security department be informed of the decedent.
Right.
However, why are they not informing the DMV?
Communication seems to be dropping off there.
Exactly.
For them,
Exactly. So there are ways that we're working with the state government to try to correct action for the disability community. I'll be up there actually next week, 2 weeks,
Okay.
for Capital Action Day.
Okay.
And Capital Action Day is a disability day where we march to the steps of the Capitol all the way around and right up to the steps of the Capitol, and we have what's almost like a fair, but it's more like the expo, I guess I should say.
Yes.
Like the expo, where we discuss the issues that they should not be making laws without us. So the mantra is nothing about us without us. So
Beautiful.
that's the Do Network.
Okay.
And if you look on the Do Network website, you'll find me there leading the crowd last year, and I'll be there again.
That's
this year.
awesome.
Yeah, and then you're on Twitter too, so we can follow you.
Yes.
Okay.
Coach_Cindy.
Cool. And as far as the website goes, where can people check out Miss Pageant?
The Ms. Wheelchair pageant can be found at www.ms, M as in Mary, S as in Sam, or Ms. Wheelchair, California.org. And the California is CA. Just the initials. You don't have to write it all out.
Okay. So there you go. That's where you could get in more information. She has a couple photos and a nice description of her story and all the great things she's becoming a part of. Thanks a lot for being an advocate and getting your hands in the muck, if you will, and stand up for all our community, because there's people like you may go a long way and bringing others like us together, and we're power in numbers. So
yes.
The more people we can get behind initiatives that affect us, the more bigger change we're going to be able to make in the future.
Exactly.
For the upcomers, right?
Right.
And I do like to tell people to, feel free to contact me on Facebook. I'm always here. People look at me for coaching and how do I handle this and stuff. So I do what I can to hook them up with whatever it is they need, the right people to get in touch with, whether it's, the Triumph Foundation,
Yes.
or if I can point them to Johnny and Friends, which provides wheelchairs, and
Okay.
there are many organizations out there. People just don't know about them.
So there you go. Connect with our ambassadors and our activists in the community to get the most out of it. So
That's right.
Yeah, and I'm sure we can also find you on Pushrim, right?
Yes.
Okay.
You certainly will.
And you can find Ray and I on Pushrim also.
Sounds good.
yeah, and if you guys have any questions for us, feel free to email us at info@pushroom.com with any questions, show topics. We're going to start incorporating a questions and answers segment on our show at the end. So if you guys feel free to ask us any questions, and we'll try to answer them at the end of the show for you guys. It could be anything from what's your favorite snack to what kind of wheelchairs you guys ride, or whatever it might be. Feel free to write us, and we'll put you on our next upcoming episodes. So, and with that, we leave you guys, and thanks again for being part of the community and tuning in. Hopefully,
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Cindy, for being with us and taking time to share your story with all of us, and maybe we could see how you progress and make a big change in the future. So
We're working on it.
Yeah.
right on.
Keep banging those heads in Congress.
Yeah.
Have to.
All right.
Have to.
Thanks. And with that, we leave you guys.
All right. Have a good one.
Take care.
Thank
Bye.
you.